Hey friends, and welcome back to Susie on the Farm. I'm Susie, your creator here, and in today's video I have 3 thrift flip projects for you, and I'm going to be using the new decoupage rice paper from Connie Lines and Designs. If you're not familiar with those, I have them on my website, susieonthefarm.com. Connie draws these amazing portraits or pictures using the DIY paint, and then she prints them on rice paper, and they're so beautiful and so much fun. So the first project is going to be one of these little cedar boxes, and I have several of these in my stash, which means there's several of them in the thrift stores and people are just not buying them as they are. So we're going to go ahead and upcycle this one. To start with, I decided to rise it up just a little bit, so I'm using just some beads that I had previously painted white and putting them on the bottom. It already had a place where there was a little felt tab, so I pulled all the little felt out of there. I used hot glue and my favorite Type Bond Quick and Thick to glue these down. It didn't take them long at all to hold, but I let it dry before moving on to the next step. The next step, I am going to paint the entire box, the front, the top, the bottom, everything in DIY White Swan. This is a clay-based paint. Look how cute that looks, just a little bit of rise up. So I'm going to paint this in DIY White Swan, and I'm going to do 2 even coats, but first I had to take the battery off my glue gun there. I don't know why, but even if I turn it off, that glue gun will suck the life out of a battery in a hurry. So turning it off doesn't work. I have to actually take the battery off of it. So I'm going to do 2 thin coats on this, and then once that paint has dried, we'll move on to the next step. For this project, I'm going to use this sweet little angel, and this paper comes in 3 different sizes. You got some 5x7s, some ornament sizes, and the full size one. But first I decided that the front of this just needed a little something, and I had these 2 keyholes previously made with resin in my stash, and I wanted to match the pink in her flowers and her pretty little pink skin. So I'm using petticoat pink, and I am adding some white swan in there until I get it just the right light pink that I want, and I'm going to paint that little keyhole with it. Put that aside to dry, and while it's drying, we're going to work on decoupaging this little angel down. I prefer, instead of having straight lines, I prefer tearing my paper. I just feel like it's a more organic look and just looks better than straight lines. There are instances where straight lines are great, but in this instance, I decided to use the water tearing method, and I just used a little paintbrush to paint where I wanted to tear my paper. And this rice paper has these fibers in them, and it's a little bit hard to tear. You have to really work at it to get it tore, but then it looks so great with all the edges and all. So I'm going to get her all cut out, and then I'm going to use the DIY liquid patina to put her on the top of this box. Rice paper is very easy to decoupage with. Wrinkles just do not happen at all. I'm still kind of using both the liquid patina and the Fusion decoupage and transfer gel. They both have things that I really like about them. So I still haven't decided which is going to be my go-to. And they may both be my go-to. But once I get her cut out, I'm just going to do a layer of liquid patina and lay her directly on the top of this box. And then we're going to get started blending. Now, I'm terrible at blending. It is something that I need to get a lot of practice on. And unfortunately, with being so busy, the only way I can practice is by doing it in videos. So y'all are seeing me learn here, because like I said, blending is not something that I'm very good at, but just like everything that I've done over the years, I do get better at it as time goes on. So I am using a gray here. I think this might be letterpress gray. I'm also going to do some of the white swan and I think weathered wood to try to blend those colors in where it doesn't look like I just decoupaged a piece of paper and left it on there. So at first I was just going to do the gray and the white together, and then I decided, well, I'll just go with the darkest color underneath and then blend it in. So I just kept working with this until I got it blended how I thought looked good enough. Like I said, I'm not very good at this, so I am got lots of practice to do, but for a try, I think it turned out pretty good. You can still see the outline of the paper a little bit, which is what I was trying to cover up. But I do think that it looked really good in the end. I just kept going with it, putting colors on there, and then I would use my mister and blend them together until I got it how I wanted it to look. If y'all have any tips or tricks that you can let me know how blending will be easier and look better, please leave me a comment below and let me know. The top blended how I wanted, I cleaned up the edges because I did get a little of that gray paint on them, and as I was doing that I thought it looked pretty neat to kind of frame the top with a little bit of white, and I just kind of dabbed it around the edges just to give it just a little bit more interest and kind of frame out the top of it. To finish this off, I glued the little pink keyhole on the front directly over the hole that was there, and then I used a combination of a sander and a baby wipe to clean up any excess paint that got on the inside of this box. I sealed everything up with another coat of DIY liquid patina. All of the products that you see me using here to upcycle these items can be found on my website, susieonthefarm.com. If you're interested in getting some of these rice papers or any of the DIY fusion, all the things that I use. I even have an Amazon link for the Quick and Thick and the other items that I get off Amazon, including this little hand sander. And y'all can use my link on there to get them. It's in the description box of this video. Let me know what you think about this project in the comments below. I hope that y'all enjoy this one. Here is the final look at this sweet little box. Our next project, y'all, I have been itching to get into my Christmas crafting, but every year I do this. I start so early because I'm so excited. By the time Christmas gets here, I'm completely burnt out on all things Christmas. But I did want to do a little here and there, so I'm going to do this beautiful rice paper called Father Christmas from the Connie Lines and Designs, and you could absolutely just put this in a beautiful frame and it would be perfect. But I have all these different blanks in my stash. This one is just one of those little bamboo cutting boards that you find all the time at the thrift store. They make perfect blanks for your DIY projects. To begin with, I'm going to paint the entire thing with 2 coats of DIY White Swan, and then I decoupaged him down. I did not get it on video, but for this one I did use the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel. I put him right in the center. I'm going to let him dry, and then for the border around him, originally I found a border that I liked, a border stamp. This was in the Queen Bee stamp. And I was going to go all around him with the red ink, the red IOD ink, but I got the 2 sides done on it, and I was like, nope, this is not working for me. I need to come up with another plan. So I went ahead and instead I'm going to frame him out with paint. So I've grabbed DIY in the color Marquee. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous red. It's perfect for your traditional Christmas colors. So I'm just carefully going to frame out this picture of Father Christmas on this cutting board with the paint. Once I got this framed up with 2 coats of Marquee, and I also painted the back, and I sealed everything with a Big Top, I let it dry, and for the final step on this, I decided that I would wrap some of this really pretty off-white twine that I have around that top. Now this ended up being a pretty good chore. I did put 1 even layer of the Big Top over this entire thing to seal it all up before, and I let it dry completely before moving on to this last step. Now, I had to wrap the twine through the hole, and I wanted to keep it really neat, so I hot glued that little tip down, and I just kept going with it. This took a while and was quite tedious, and I don't recommend doing it when you have a migraine, which I did at this time, but I just kept going with it, and I did get it all wrapped around. And sometimes it's just the little small touches that make a difference in your DIY. It wasn't hard to do, it was just time consuming and repetitive, but I think it made all the difference in this little framed Santa picture, and now this is just a really beautiful piece of art to sit out with all your Christmas decorations. for project number 3, we're going to make some ornaments out of the sweet Snowman globe paper. Now these came from Amazon. I always do tons of handmade ornaments every year because they're an easy, quick, simple, and everybody loves handmade ornaments for their themed Christmas trees. And I always sell a bunch of them. So the great thing about this release of Connie's papers is she actually does, and these are called ornament sizes. So they fit on all the different size ornaments almost perfectly. The first thing I'm going to do is paint all of these in 2 coats of DIY White Swan. I painted the edges on them, but I wouldn't have had to do that. I just had not decided on how I was going to finish these off yet. So I went ahead and painted all of them, and once they were all dry, I'm going to use liquid patina to decoupage these all down. I'm just going to cut out each individual snowman and put them on the ornament, and we will clean up the edges later. I let these dry overnight because it was time for me to go anyway. And the next morning, it was so easy to take my little finger sander and sand off all the excess. Now I did, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, but I have done up to 30 of these before. And I will tell you that sanding all the edges off, while it may be easy, if you're doing a ton of them, your arm is going to ache. But these 5 were not a big deal, thankfully. So I got all the edges sanded off on them, and you could absolutely just go with them like they are, put a little twine on there and call it done. But I wanted to dress them up just a little bit more. And on the little ornaments, they were not quite wide enough for this wood ornament. So I had a little white blank space on each side, and I decided that I did not want to leave that like that. I could have painted them. I have paint that matches that, but instead I went through my paint markers, and I had a blue that was pretty close to the blue hints in the snowman. So what I did is I just took that blue marker and I painted the edges and just did a little bit on the front of each ornament. Again, a little bit of time-consuming work, but made such a huge impact, and I think really just made the project so much better. So I went over all of these with the little blue paint pen until I got them just how I wanted them. And then I strung some twine on them, and they are so cute. I love how they turned out. I have got ornament sizes in that sweet little angel too, so I'm going to do some of those as well. And I hope that y'all have enjoyed this ornament making, and I hope that you will get some of your own and try these out. I will leave a link for these exact ornaments that I got off Amazon in the description box below as well. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see y'all Tuesday for a special live at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for the new Iron Orchid Designs release. I can't wait to show you guys these products. In the meantime, if you need some of these beautiful rice papers, check out my website, susieonthefarm.com. Thanks so much for watching.